indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody. Let's get one administrative thing out of the way, and then we will see what these young gentlemen have for us. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes? Christine, did you come in late last meeting, or?
No, I didn't.
You didn't make it at all? Okay,
didn't
I wanted to
make it.
make sure that you were not on here as being present because you weren't present, okay. So it was just the four of us, okay. Any edits, comments, questions on the minutes? Okay, is there a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Any second? All in favor? Aye. Aye, okay, looks unanimous. Good. All right. We're going to go a little bit out of order here. Before we get into reports, we're going to see what these gentlemen have to present to us. So why don't you go ahead?
Good evening. We're the Project Plasma from Huaxia Chinese School, and my name is Leo.
My name is William.
My name is Ethan.
And my name is Sean. Today we are very excited to present to you our innovation project, Solar Court.
It is a real honor to be here to present to the whole board today, and we will now use a skit to illustrate how we came up with this idea. Yay, I finally finished all my homework. Now I can go find Ethan and William to go play some tennis at the YMCA. Wait, it's already dark outside? I never knew it's 8 p.m. Oh, bummer. Now that it's dark and there are no lights at the tennis court, I won't be able to play tennis. This has been an actual problem before in our community, so our local YMCA started putting up lights. But these lights are very expensive and consume a lot of electricity, so that's what we decided to make our innovation project on. Our idea is to make a light that is powered by solar panels and batteries to be eco-friendly. Our first step in making this system is to find a good source of light. Let's go ask our light expert, William.
There are two different options for a lighting solution. You can either choose high-mast LED lights or LED light strips. High-mast LED lights cost roughly $150,000 per tennis court, and to install them it costs $10,000 in man and labor and materials. If you choose LED light strips, the combo altogether costs about $30,000, and they are environmentally friendly. These lights only emit 1 foot candlelight of light pollution, and when you see the tennis court at a distance, you only see a little faint glow outside the tennis court. These lights are extremely easy to install. All you have to do is attach them to the fence, and it only takes about 8 hours to complete.
That's cool. The LED light strips seemed like a good choice, so we decided on using them instead of the high-mast LED lights. We also thought about how regular tennis court lights consume way too much electricity, so we decided on using solar panels to power them. Solar panels are also great because they can power things even in a solitary area such as a backyard, a park, or anywhere with a surplus amount of sunshine. Then now let's turn over to Ethan, who will give you some more solar panel details.
Many people might think solar energy is very expensive, but after we consulted from the two biggest solar panel making companies in the world, LONGi and Jinko Solar, the financial numbers look very promising. As you can see from this table, typical 1 kilowatt solar court only needs about one solar panel, of which the total cost is around $30,000. Including the LED light strips, the solar panels, and the power bank. This system can last for over 25 years, so you can enjoy a brand new solar court every night for 3 hours. And it only costs $5 to $6 each night. And with President Biden's Renewable Energy Act support, the cost can be even lower. Now, isn't that a great system? This system is actually for 2 tennis courts, not 1.
Now that we have our light and the power source for the light, our construction expert, Sean, will show you how to build it using the model we made from a bunch of Legos and also a more realistic one.
So, to better illustrate our idea, we upgraded our original Lego model into a new lifelike model. There are 3 main components in this model. It is the LED light strips, the power bank, and the solar panels. Our first main component is the LED light strip. Each light strip is 3 feet long for easy installation and transportation. By connecting multiple LED light strips together and hanging them on the fences of the tennis court, we can light up the entire court within 1 working day. Our second main component is the power bank, which will receive power from the solar panels, store it, and then transfer it to the LED light strips for energy. We designed to have extra capacity so that way it could actually still work on cloudy days, or maybe even no Sundays, but it just works. Our third main component is the solar panel. It will receive over 5 hours of sunlight during the day, and in the night, it can power the entire solar court for at least 3 hours a night. Now that is really an amazing system.
Now that we have a working product, we decide to research the positive impacts and benefits of this solution. Our solution is better than the current one because
Our technology is cheaper and easier to install and maintain, which can let communities make better use of their outdoor facilities.
It uses green and renewable energy, which is healthy for the environment and is cost efficient.
The lights are confined so it won't affect migratory animals in nearby communities.
And even if just 10% of the 270,000 tennis courts use this system, it can translate into a real societal and environmental impact. We also made a survey and submitted it to many of our teachers, classmates, and friends. And in it, more than 55% of people strongly chose to do more sports if there was a lighting system, and more than 71% of people have a strong opinion on using a cheaper and greener lighting system.
Now we can all play tennis at night.
We are now open to any questions.
Yeah, I was waiting for the light. It's part of the Shark Tank experience. We need the light.
Whoa. So what grade are all of yous? All of you. I try to say 3 words at once.
We are all 5th to 6th grade.
Well, he's in 6th grade. Me, Ethan, and William are all in 5th grade. He's older.
So what is the yellow item that's on the table?
Oh, this is actually a Lego trophy we got from the regional competition, which is the second stage of the FLL competition. And this trophy symbolizes that we got 3rd place in the Innovation Project Award. And there were 20 teams, by the way. So it was pretty good.
It looks like you had some other hardware up on the table, too, that wasn't related to the solar panels. What were those trophies there?
Okay, so this is basically from the Liberty Science Center in New Jersey. We got there. This is basically the last round, and we made it in. So this award is robot design, 2nd place for a robot. Well, it's not here, and I think we did pretty good.
This trophy is the Champions Award, 1st place. It basically symbolizes that we did overall the best in the tournament, and we got this at the first one.
And this one is 1st place for robot performance, which, as mentioned, we don't have over there. But we got it in the qualifiers too. just like that one, so they look alike.
Well earned awards. Some others may have some questions, but I've seen a lot of presentations here, and that probably was the absolute best one. You guys were terrific.
That was
and so
great.
much work and so informative and inspiring. So thanks so much for coming out. I know others may have some questions too, but
Thank you.
Yeah, I have a question. So where can we apply this in our township? Have you guys done a survey of our facilities?
So this is mainly intended for tennis since over 30% of people that we surveyed plays tennis, but this could also be used on other courts that are about the same size, such as basketball courts or pickleball courts, since there's also a rising demand in pickleball courts as well.
Very good. This is great, guys. Really great. And I'm now really into thinking about practical applications of this. So, anybody else have any comments or questions?
Just a comment. I think it's great because let's put this on. I think it's awesome because I think a lot of people want to be more active, right? But they're working. So this, like you guys said, is great for people who want to play tennis after they're done work and their long day. And I think that helps for people to be healthier. So awesome job.
Anyone else?
You guys did a great presentation. I just have a question for you. In terms of an average court like that, how large would the panel have to be? Like, are we talking like an entire section of fence, or?
It would be like a typical panel is like 3 by 5 feet, so it's like around like this. So
Okay.
it doesn't have to be that big.
So it wouldn't be obstructing, because
Yeah.
that would be important, right?
Yeah.
So,
It's about the size of 2 queen-size mattresses in your house, which is also not that big.
very good.
Yeah, how do you position them? I mean, do you put, like, where in relation to the court do you put the lighting?
So basically, like on tennis courts, don't you have like fences? So you basically just put it on the longest side of the fence, and you just put it there, and it should be able to cover the entire thing. So for example, ours is a double court. So it's basically there will be one on this side and one on this side. So this is 2 tennis courts. So there will be one on the this side of the fence, and there will be one on this side of the fence.
Okay, got it. Wow. Anyone else? Anybody over here have any comment?
I think it's great because we're using LED lights now, and I'm going to follow that up with my comment with what's on the baseball field now on Enki B. So great job, and it's environmentally friendly, and it's going to keep you active and healthy. So great job, guys. Really, great job.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Mhm.
Good work.
Thank you guys for coming tonight.
Thank you. Great job, guys.
Thank you to the board tonight for listening to their presentation. I know I had the opportunity to meet with them twice informally in preparation for some of their competitions, and I thought they had such a creative and very clever and charismatic presentation. I thought it would be awesome tonight for the board, so I appreciate you guys listening, and thanks so much, guys, for coming this evening, and good luck with all of your future pursuits in robotics and engineering. I know you guys are the future, so keep in touch, and good luck with everything. Have a great summer, too.
Thank you. Oh, please.
Our pleasure.
We look forward to seeing these guys back here in a few years making a real presentation to really put some lights up, all right? Thank you.
Well, that's going to be hard to top. It's downhill from here.
Good Commissioner
Yeah. Yeah, let's, God. All righty. All right, that brings us up to reports. Parks and Rec.
In the interest of time, I'm going to pass the I'm going to pass the mic here to Commissioner Farhi and let him make the commissioner's report.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll be brief. Just a couple of quick things. The Radnor Wayne Little League, as I stated before, they put their lights up on Enki B. I don't know if any of you had a chance to come check them out. They are great. They are the Musco lights, so they don't produce a lot of glare and a lot of excess light outside of the field. And I think some of you know my feelings on lights, so we'll leave it at that. But great job. I will want to thank Radnor Wayne Little League personally. I was honored to throw out the first pitch. I know Tammy threw out the softball pitch. She outdid me. You didn't win me, but anyway. So thank you. That really was an honor. So to all the people at Radnor Wayne Little League, thank you for that. Just real quick, the Memorial Day Parade, which preceded the lighting at Enki A and B, was great. And then there was a Radnor Wayne Little League bunch of games throughout the day, which was a lot of fun. So again, thank you to Radnor Wayne Little League. There will be another parade, the Garrett Hill 4th of July Parade. You are all invited to attend, and I know one person up on the board lives on the route, I believe, or close to it. No, you still do. All right, yes, you still live on the route. So hopefully you will be there. So that's a fun day. And then finally, I do want to thank Tammy Cohen. So at the last Board of Commissioners meeting, she stepped out of her traditional role and she helped create a resolution to honor George Sidner. George Sidner, if you don't know, was the first African-American detective in Radnor. He was a world record holder for a short time, a Villanova alum, and if you go out in the lobby over there, you can see pictures of him. So she created a resolution. We're going to kind of rename the street in an honorary way after him, and it's something really special. Obviously, I'm the commissioner in Garrett Hill, so you have Garrett Avenue and Williams Road. So Garrett Avenue has been honorarily named Emlyn Tennell, and Williams is going to be George Sidner Way, and they both intersect at Conestoga, right in the town, the heart of the town of Garrett Hill. So again, thank you, Tammy. It's an honor, and I know that a lot of the community and myself greatly appreciate it. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Commissioner Farhi. I really appreciate that. I can give my report now. I just wanted to let him go ahead and go before me because he has to leave.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I didn't clarify
No,
that.
no problem. Okay, go ahead, Tammy.
Sure. So I just wanted to give a short report and talk about some of the great things really coming up. June is, as you probably know, one of our busiest months, coming off of a busy spring, but a busier summer, of course, that lays ahead. We have Radnor Day Camp that's going to be starting up, our summer visiting camps that are going to be starting up. We're right now in the process of hiring for those camps and allocating staff. We're getting ready to hold our training, our back to camp nights, and all of our various communications and details that we have and levels of planning for those programs, among a lot of other things that are happening this summer. So you can, of course, read more about those in my report. But I just wanted to make a couple of announcements of not only great events that have happened, but things that are coming up. So I know Commissioner Farhi mentioned the lights dedication that we had over here at the baseball field. It was an awesome night, at least a couple hundred in attendance. So I also want to give a thank you to Radnor Wayne Little League for all of their leadership on the project, as well as being able to accommodate both the softball and the baseball teams that have been playing over at Enki Park under the lights. I also want to recognize we had the 9th annual Great American Backyard Campout last weekend at the Willows. And I want to thank our scouting leadership, of course, for everything that they bring to that event. 9 years of that event is pretty amazing. We're looking forward, of course, to reaching the big milestone next year. So specifically, I do want to thank Pete Murphy with Troop 284 and Amanda Garzio-Hadzik. She is with the Girl Scouts, Troop 5030, who we actually worked with for the first time this year. We had for years hoped and aspired to have the Girl Scouts participate in this great event, and they actually joined us this year and gave us lots of great leadership. We also had the Trailblazers in attendance, and there was approximately about 125 that ended up in attendance camping out for the night, and it was a really big success. It was a cloudy night, unfortunately, some threats of rain, which doesn't make it exciting, of course, without a rain date. But I think weather at this point is just always going to be a factor in everything that we do. We know the last few years have been pretty challenging in that regard as we've engaged, of course, all of our great events and lots of weather challenges along the way. Which, by the way, in the last couple nights with regards to the wildfires, we have had to do some cancellations with regards to programming with our soccer shots and our tennis programming. So we've been listening to, of course, the advice and the data that's out there from the county and trying to make plans in accordance with those. In addition, coming up, I also wanted to note this weekend is going to be the Wayne Business Association's Wayne Music Festival. It's a big event in downtown Wayne with a variety of different activities and musicians taking place throughout the day. We also have the Bishop Richard Allen Historic Panel dedication that's coming up on Sunday, June 25th. It's going to go from 1 o'clock till 3 o'clock p.m. At approximately 1:30, we're going to start the formal dedication. So hopefully you'll be able to join us for that. I know there's some flyers and information and materials at the back of the room. We also have a lot of information that's circulating right now through our website, newsletters, and of course on social media. We're really excited about that event. We're going to get out and talk to some of the neighbors tomorrow, spread some letters and information around so that they're aware. Brook Street is a very small street. It's tight. So we're going to be closing off a portion of it, and we have some remote parking that's going to be available for the event. So that information is all posted at the website. And as things materialize for the event, more information will be posted. So if anyone has questions, we really want to encourage them to reach out. We're really excited about this event and can't wait to have a nice little celebration at the park. As Commissioner Farhi had mentioned, July 4th, we have the Garrett Hill Parade, the annual parade, and the celebration that goes on at Clem-McCrone Park. On July 8th, we have the 3rd annual Odoricio Music and Movie Night, a variety of great musicians and a movie at dark. On July 22nd, we have the 50th anniversary celebration going on over at the Willows Mansion and the park. We have a fireworks celebration. That event starts at 5 o'clock p.m. So through July, there's no shortage on a lot of great things that are going on. Hopefully the weather cooperates, all summer long. That way we have great success with all the exciting things that we have coming up. And that concludes my report for April and May. There's a lot of great information in there. So if you have any questions, please let me know.
Thanks, Tammy. I'm guessing we don't have reports from the school board or Shade Tree Commission unless anybody went to their meeting. I'm sorry, yes.
Yeah, Jim Riley.
Right.
I was at the last Shade Tree Committee meeting. One of the items that they talked about was the pilot program, and they were still talking about like where to make it, and they kind of figured that out. At the same time, they're trying to make it that the program's going to help, say, for pruning and devining of trees to save trees. So what we ended up in the long term saving trees and saving money, because we're spending a lot of money after the trees fall down and other things happen. So they're doing that and going along with that, which is good. I did have a question. For the school board, I missed their meeting. The one that they had at Ithan. I guess it was last week. I was away. Was anybody here, or did anybody go to that?
No,
Okay. All right.
not a problem. New business we had, the solar group. So we're up to old business. Want to tell us what the story is with Fenimore, Tammy?
Absolutely. So I know everyone tonight anticipated having roundtable number 4. We were looking forward to a lively and productive meeting, of course. So just a little bit of background coming out of the March 27th Board of Commissioners meeting. We heard presentation on the various options and costs for Fenimore Woods, which I think everybody walked out of that meeting with a lot of sticker shock, recognizing there's a significant amount of costs that were assessed to all the various improvement areas. Most notably, of course, was the stable. So if you'll recall, one of our top goals walking out of the Parks and Recreation Board meetings back in September and moving on to the commissioners and next stages of the project and development, not only were the trees a number one area that we had a goal of preserving, but also the stable in terms of rehab into bathrooms. So that particular item being such a key piece to what continues to seem like a growing smaller and smaller budget is something that is the biggest piece to really figure out before we start to talk about all of the other pieces and how we're going to put those together and afford those. So when the stable was presented back in March, not only were those costs really high, but I think there was a lot of thinking that the building could be scaled down pretty significantly in more of a minimalist type of approach, more rustic approach, so that obviously it's not chewing up such a large portion of the budget. So there were a lot of things within the building that we went back with Gannett Fleming, who are our consultants that have been tasked with this portion of the project, and we asked them to redesign. And I can say with great reliability, we asked them to scale it down as minimally as you possibly can so that we can get it to be as in the lowest cost that we possibly can. So we had a couple meetings. We went through some ideas, discussions, very direct, talked about some ideas on what could happen with the stable, and they came back to us just early this week, which was after, of course, we had already set the roundtable number 4. We had everything scheduled and planned for tonight. And unfortunately, seeing those costs was not a dramatic reduction at all. In fact, they were only about $85,000 cheaper. And the building came with a significant difference in its look. So one of the things that were removed from the project were the wooden trusses that had been originally needed within the building in order to maintain the roof line and, of course, ultimately the replacement of the roof. That was a very big portion. There was a lot of heavy timber. I don't know if you remember in the presentation from July, and then, of course, subsequently what we looked at in March. There's a lot of timber throughout the project that we had removed. There were some finishes that we asked to be scaled back. We took some things like steel beams and stuff like that and interjected those as replacements, cheaper materials overall. And again, I don't want to pretend to be the engineer, but we really tried to work closely with them, with our township engineer, Steve Norsini. So he's been involved in this process all along and all of these meetings that I'm referencing. So backing into these fixtures and backing into different materials, using things that replace steel partitions in the bathroom, things like reinforced plastic and stuff like that, all that still meets the code. Really, unfortunately, at the end of the day, just did not get us where we had hoped to be. So going into tonight's meeting, we were hoping to have a little bit more of a reasonable cost on what to expect with regards to the stable and renovating it, of course, for the bathrooms. That way we could have a good conversation to start talking about all of the other areas in the park and how we want to get those done. I know we've already been having discussions internally about how, there's things like demolition to the pavilion, the concrete pad, the walkways, things like that exist within the project, and actually leaning a little bit more on our Public Works Department to have them perform some of those. Ironically, Rick Foster was just here a little bit ago, they were on board. There's a lot of things that they think that they can do and make up within the project that was being bid, basically, for construction, that we figure that can be savings. But before we really endeavor those conversations, the anchor of the project here really, and the elephant in the room is the stable. So what we decided is that we think we need to engage potentially another consultant, hopefully not for more exorbitant fees, but for somebody to take a look at it and give us a second opinion. So essentially somebody to potentially And we have obviously lots of consultants that we engage with on a day-to-day basis through a variety of projects and have over the years. But getting somebody to take a closer look at it and get a second opinion to what we've been provided by Gannett Fleming, of course, to see, are there different materials? Is there a way that, you know, we can make it more rustic, but make sure that it has the longevity that we're looking for, making sure that it has all of the hazardous materials mitigation that we know we need, all the code compliance that we know we need to make this a great building and something that's going to be sustainable for a long time to the park. You know, we do have a sense of responsibility as the township to make it a good, solid, functional building for the future. Unfortunately, the condition of the building just warrants a lot. But I think we do think if we, you know, this has been deemed a priority, we want to test the waters and see if there's some input that we can get that sees if there's maybe a cheaper way to do it. So that's where we are right now. Again, we hope to be farther along in this process. I really want to take a step back and thank everybody. I know the Friends of Fenimore Woods Coalition, we have members here tonight that, you know, have been along with us on this journey for the last couple of years and been patient and also like positively critical in helping us. Like a lot of the ideas that you guys suggested of things to remove and scale back, we went to our consultants and we told them exactly what we were looking for. And obviously relying on them for other creative ideas. Some of those suggestions that you guys made were more expensive, some were less. So it's, you know, trying to get the right, you know, the right situation, but again, you know, have it be a building that is going to be for the long term and the long haul for the park. So I want to thank you guys for everything that you've been doing all along, and you've been patient and positive, and I know you guys are in it until we can get this thing figured out. I want to thank the board, of course, the Parks and Recreation Board, all your time that you've put into this. We're still going. We're going to keep going. And of course, the commissioners for having the courage to continue to push back on our consultants. For anybody who had an opportunity to see the March 27th meeting, I think they definitely they did that. They pushed back and said, you know what, we can do better and we need to do better because we do have a finite amount of money for this project and we really want to get done the most that we can out of it. So that's where we are right now. I'd be happy to engage questions, have further discussion if you want to do that.
Yeah, Tammy, you may not be able to answer this question, but roughly, how engaging another consultant to give us a second opinion, how much is that likely to cost us out of our rapidly diminishing budget, and roughly how long do you think that would take?
Honestly, I don't know, but given the amount of information that we have right now, I think it probably will not cost what it cost us initially.
Yeah.
We had a lot of significant studies that were done. There were a lot of like scans of the building that were done in order to produce the imaging and everything that took place in there. There was a lot of detail that we got out of that I think is, a lot of that work is there. Mm-hmm. So we want to have that in front of us, you know, if we meet with someone else to get some opinion, but I can't put a cost on it right now. The only thing I could say is I certainly hope that it wouldn't be an amount that would require us to go back to the board for any level of approval, because at that point, it's over $7,500 and it's significant. You know, and I think there might be someone out there who's willing to give us sort of just a blush, like a look at it, and just tell us what they think, maybe for a minimal amount of money, mm-hmm. Just to see if it's something that maybe they have another creative look at it that can help us, that maybe Gannett Fleming perhaps just didn't see, or something that we're not seeing internally.
And your estimate, I mean, again, this may be impossible to answer, but your estimate about how much time you think it would take for us to get that second opinion?
I really can't estimate. I would hope by the time we get back here in July,
okay,
we can get some insight at least. You know, we may not necessarily have a consultant that's going to put another price tag on detail, but we might have someone that says, if you change these things, mm-hmm. or if you do this, and this differently, it could have a different outcome. The only thing that I will say is that from the presentation that the Parks and Recreation Board heard last July, so we're about a year from when we heard the initial presentation on the study of the stable, the construction costs have gone up dramatically since then. So that's really part of the issue.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
And we're seeing that across the board with all the projects that the township has going on right now. There's a significant amount of stormwater projects that are underway, and a lot of those are coming in pretty significantly as well.
Is the current pavilion thought to be salvageable?
Based on the information that we have and what we've looked at, no, we do think it does have to be redone. A lot of the timber wood is rotted.
Too gone.
The columns are pretty rotted and are rough shape, but that's an area where we feel Public Works can help really save some of those costs.
Sure. And a traditional bathroom, much like we see at Friends of Radnor Trail, like what would that cost be for a more, I realize they're expensive now too, but what would that incur?
We presented that at the March meeting. It was $560,000.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. How about the one at Ditmar? Roughly, like, how much are those?
That was from like 2000. I'd have to
Yeah,
go
it's hard
back
to
and.
do, but it's a different style, a compost one.
So we engaged a study to see if Fenimore could have a building like that, and unfortunately, due to the lack of ability to get sunlight to that building and openness from the trees, it just wasn't feasible, as well as some of the grading in the fields around the building.
Yeah, and I think initially I didn't think that you needed it because the building, the stable already had a bathroom. Like there's a bathroom in it. You can't use it currently, but there's a bathroom in there. There's a heater in there. None of it works anymore, but it used to have one. Like there was piping to go somewhere, like there was stalls for a bathroom. Also at that meeting in March, it seemed like they were making it to be used not 24/7, for a full 12 months. And if you just want it in the summer, so we wouldn't need heat or insulation or any of that. Like, was that given to them to give a price back?
All of that was scaled out of the building. The HVAC was completely scaled out of the building. Insulation was scaled out of the building, and a rework of it.
Was that the $85,000 savings? Or was that prior to the meeting in March? I just kind of forget.
No, it wasn't prior to the meeting in March. In the meeting in March, the $1,025,000 price tag included all of that. So as presented to this board in July of 2022, and then, of course, we had refined the design costs during that time, and that's what led us to the March 27th meeting. So all of that stayed the same during that time. So when we went back and we met with them after our March 27th Board of Commissioners meeting, that's where we dramatically scaled the building down to make it less civilized, so that it didn't have HVAC and a lot of other things that had originally been put within it.
But then it only got $85,000 lower?
Yes. That's why we're not here tonight having a roundtable.
Gotcha.
I probably would have lost my job if that happened.
Any other questions on Fenimore? Any comment? Okay. I guess that's a yes.
Good evening, I'm Doug McCone. I've been part of this a long time. One of the things, the questions that we had was the accessible route from the lower parking lot up to the, one of the things we were able to use a slope, like a typical walkway like you have here, the scope of 1 in 20, all the way from where the stable is located down to the pavilion. So trying to do that would be a really circuitous route if you went all the way down to the park. However, if you use a ramp, you're allowed to have a higher slope than that, a more steep slope, 1 in 12. That's a typical ramp like you would see outside. And I went over there and measured it, and from the pavilion all the way down to the lower parking lot, it is of a height so that you could construct a fully compliant, handicapped accessible ramp. And that would require, occasionally flat spots and railings most of the way. But it's not running all through the place. It would be a straight shot. It would just require that you put, that may make it easier, it may make it harder, but it's a piece of information that I don't think we had before. And
Mr. McCombs, did you map out a route on that straight shot?
huh?
Were you able to map out a route for that straight shot? And if so,
It's right from the pavilion, right down where the driveway across the bridge down to the parking lot. I just went out there with this handy dandy gauge and just measured it all the way up. I can show you the gauge if you care. She's doing a great job. This is a pain in the butt project, but thank you very much.
Thank
And
you.
had there been discussions to move the pavilion to a different footprint, like closer to one of the parking lots, so you didn't have to put a pathway all that distance?
There was, but the goal of the project was to take a minimalist approach and not move or add anything.
Right, but adding a walk that far, it just feels, just changing the footprint could solve some of that, but.
It could, but we would have to be willing to accept moving amenities into different locations.
sure.
Which certainly was an option. We spent 2 years and 3 roundtable meetings discussing ideas and locations and places, and I think at the end of the day, we ended up really
Same
with
spot.
minimal change of everything. In fact, I know that one of the suggestions that came not only from my staff and myself and staff was to change the entrance drive at the lower parking lot, because it does create quite a bit of confusion right at the stop sign there. So we were going to move that up a little bit further on Paul Road. And I think even that has been met with some resistance. So that's kind of one of those items we were going to discuss a little bit tonight after hopefully having had like a much lower cost assessment on the stable, so that we could start to talk about those pieces and see where we land.
One other comment is, if you start playing with the park, you do have to bring it into compliance with the handicap accessibility requirements under the ADA. It's not a, we'd like to do this kind of thing. You have no choice, really. Because it's under civil rights law, they'll sue you if you get it wrong. Thank you.
And we want to get it right in any event.
Sorry?
We want to get it right in any event. We want it to be
Oh, yeah.
accessible. Okay, anything else on that, guys? All right, let's move on to Odoricio. Maybe there's more upbeat news on Odoricio to report.
The only thing I have to report is that we will have a focused meeting in July. So our July 13th meeting will officially be at the RTCA over on Highland Avenue. So I want to thank Howard and the efforts of he and the board of the RTCA for allowing us to use the space that night. What we'll do is we'll talk in more detail about the information that I presented at the last meeting, which included the survey data, and start to talk about some of the design elements. So that'll be a goal for that meeting as we head into that. So other than that, there's no further update. So a little bit of a few more surveys have come in. I figured let's just leave it open. No harm, in leaving it open. Continue to gather more data, and then we can evaluate maybe after our meeting in July when we think we might want to close that. But we are still continuing to receive information.
Updates about the fire that took place there recently? I know there was a fire in the woods there.
Yes, there was a fire in the woods Saturday evening. I understand, I know an investigation is currently being done on how that started, and just have been waiting for some more information, but I know that several of the local fire companies responded to it. I think it started sometime overnight, and then I had gotten the call, I think around 7 a.m. on Sunday morning, just to let me know about it. But I think it sounds like something was going on in the woods that unfortunately did start the fire. It was reported by a neighbor, and fortunately was responded to. And I know our Public Works Department was out helping to clear brush and cut back some of the area. But definitely something. I know in the woods we've had some problems with gatherings and things like that have been happening. So it was an unfortunate circumstance, but no one got hurt. And I know that our local fire departments responded accordingly.
Is there a lot of ground debris in there that's for future risks for fires back there? I know some of it's just cleaning out dead wood and whatnot. Is that an area that needs that kind of work?
You know what, I have not been back there, so.
It's thick back
I have to
there.
talk to the Public Works Department and
So.
see if there's some additional work we can do back there, but I know with the dry temperatures, it's certainly been a risk. I know even with the camp out
Yep.
the night prior, we tried to keep our fire scaled back, had several buckets of water ready to go, and fire department was, of course, on call just to make sure that there were no issues.
Anything more on Odoricio? Okay, next item, 2023 Radnor Township Capital Budget, Parks and Facilities, and Park Impact Fund Project Allocation Update.
This has just been an item that's been riding along on our agenda. So just to reiterate, the additional park impact funds were recommended by this board to be spent towards all of the improvements that we're working on for Odoricio. So I know that's something that still remains underway. There's still funds obviously in the account. And then the 2023 Radnor Township capital budget will soon turn into the 2024 very quickly, and we'll start having conversations about projects and things like that that perhaps board members would like to see within there. I know sometimes we try to engage in a priority listing, but I think some of that will have to do with what the outlook is on the capital budget. So what I would just ask of the board is as you get into your park steward mindset and you're out in the parks, start to consider previous lists that have been provided. Clark, what I can do is I can provide you information that was given to the board last year if you're interested to take a look at it. I know we do have I think the capital budget is allocated within the approved township budget, but I'll make sure make sure you get all the information so you have that and start to take a look at those and just reflect on those and see if you have suggestions or ideas that go along with that.
Okay, anything further on that? Concerns about dogs in the Willows Park and Skunk Hollow. Anything additional on that? I don't see anybody in the audience who may be wanting to speak to that. Anything from the board, any additional items to report or brilliant insights? When did we say we might dedicate a meeting to that, Tammy? It's probably going to get pushed back now.
Seems like we would be into September now, since we
Yeah.
don't meet in August.
Yeah, that's our target, I guess. Okay. All right. Parks and Recreation Board member Park Steward Program, where we report on our parks and if there are any issues that need to be addressed. Does anybody have anything to report about their parks? I guess that's good. All right. Moving right along. Public participation. It's going to be a quick one. Whoa, next item on our agenda is adjournment. Does anybody want to tackle that big issue and move that we adjourn?
Motion. Second.
All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? No. Okay. Looks like we're adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Shortest meeting ever. If there were a sun, it would still be sunny out.